Hello, my loves. Welcome to the Quantum Status Podcast. Just one moment here and we'll get going. There was just one thing that I had to realign really quickly before we can start here. It's just a bit of a camera issue. 1 second.
Hey, I created this beautiful logo for
my apologies,
bike shop,
guys.
Wix logo.
This will take a second. Okay. Can everyone see me all right? Okay, everything should be good now. All right, let's get into this. So welcome to the Quantum Status Podcast live. I am your hostess, Melany Hope, and I am a quantum energy practitioner. I specialize in self-worth adaptation and intuitive development, as well as customized clarity sessions. So I can tell you more about that later, or you can go to my link at Melany Hope Quantum Energy Practitioner, Quantum Status, Lemurian Healing, and you can book a session with me there, or you can get a little bit better idea of what I do there as well. Okay, so our topic today is truth. This is a tough one. I say that a lot. I know I say that a lot, but it's because I cover a little bit more challenging topics in my podcast. So truth is challenging because we're taught not to trust in our society. We are taught not to trust each other. Why are we taught not to trust each other? Because instead of sharing the wealth and abundance and everything else in our society, we are put in a position where there are companies and there are people, and the system is set up in a way where those people have put themselves in the positions that they have to get the biggest slice of the pie. So oftentimes what will happen is the person that we see the most often will be the one that we trust the most, because we'll feel the most comfortable with them. We'll feel the most connected to them. And they might not even have a good service, but because it's a reoccurring thing, because we see their products on TV the most, or we see their commercials the most often for this particular service or that particular service, or, you know, it can be very easy to feel a comfort level with them. We may not even go and check the Better Business Bureau to see what kind of rating they have. We might simply say, oh, I know who that person is, or I know who this person is, and then we will automatically go into trust mode. Now, it's very important to understand that we are set up when we do this. We are set up, guys. Everything from the colors that they use in those commercials to the facial expressions is a setup that pulls us in to a place of comfort, credibility, trust, and most of all, familiarity. Everything's set up that way because they know how to do it, and they have billions of dollars to put into that. How many Walmart commercials do we see? How many people go to Walmart? You know, it's this kind of an idea. It really has less to do with the prices, than it has to do with the way that something is presented. So let's get into this a little bit deeper. What does this have to do with our energy? What does this have to do with quantum energy? What does this have to do with any of those things? Everything. It has everything to do with that. Why? Because that's where our attention is going. And our attention becomes our belief, and our belief becomes our intention. So, what are we creating? What stores are we actually going to? Where are we actually ending up? Where's our money actually ending up? This is important to realize that this is a setup. It's a setup for distraction. And it's a good one. It's a good setup for distraction. So, the more we focus on these things, the more we're going to feel like we need to have more in general, more things. And this takes us away from ourselves. It takes us away from a connection with who we are and puts us into a connection with what we have, not who we are. So we get into something called lack. One of the lowest vibrational things you can imagine. Lack. The feeling that we don't have enough. And then we create it in our lives. Suddenly, we don't have enough money. We don't have enough food. We don't have enough heat. We don't have enough, and it goes on and on and on. Our car is not good enough. It's not big enough. We can take this into the smallest little detail. We can take this into the smallest part of ourselves, and where we start saying, I'm not enough. I don't have enough, therefore I'm not enough. What's wrong with me? Because if I was better, if I was cooler, if I had more stuff, if I had what this person has, then I would be good enough. Of course I'd be good enough. But then we get into an unattainable standard for ourselves. This is how it works. We go into a place of lack because we put ourselves into a place of lack. Maybe you don't believe me, but it's true. You probably told yourself today that you needed something that you don't have. And you probably tell yourself that every single day. Every day, without fail, I would bet. And then you go to where the commercials tell you to go, or where you feel you need to go to obtain more. And then you put money on that and you bring it home. And the next day you'll tell yourself, there's something else I need. We don't need anything. We need so little. Food, water, a roof over our head. The basic necessities are really what we need. When our value is based on what we have, then that's what our value becomes truly based on in an internal way. Your self-worth is now based on what you have. And we've been taught this generation after generation after generation after generation. There's the king, there's the nobility, there's the paupers. Okay, is anybody else seeing how messed up all of this really is? Can anybody else feel how messed up all of this really is? The people who are striving to be the nobility get to be nobility, and then it's not good enough. They have the house, they have the car, They have all of the things that should make them feel so good, but they don't feel good. Next thing you know, they're on drugs and they're drinking themselves to death, and they look completely different than they did before they were in the state of accumulation. The state of accumulation is a terrible state to be in. When you envision your life, your beautiful, amazing, joy-filled, abundant life, with all the money that you could possibly desire, that allows you to do anything from traveling to living on a beach somewhere, do you really have to have all of those other things in order to be truly happy? Or is it a state inside of us? If you hadn't been trained from a baby to accumulate, would you accumulate? No, you wouldn't. You really wouldn't, because accumulation weighs you down. And the majority of us like to be free. We don't like things that weigh us down. We don't like that heaviness. We don't like being told what to do. We don't like being tied to particular things or responsibilities. We want to be free. So why would we ever accumulate things at the level that we do? Why would we ever do that if it hadn't been programmed into us? This is a time to take a good, long, hard look at your life and start seeing where the programming actually is. Because accumulation is programming. You probably haven't gotten what you needed for a long time. You probably have done things so that you look better to other people. You probably have put yourself in a less comfortable position so that you could acquire things that you didn't really need. And through doing that, you have likely put a huge amount of stress on yourself that is totally unnecessary and destructive to you, because stress is a killer. This is a time, 2019 is a year to purge and find your true self and get rid of a ton of the programming that has happened, because you don't need it. And it's not really you. At the end of the day, it's programming so that you will accumulate more, so that you continue to fill the coffers of the nobility and the king. That's not who we are. And we don't have to buy into that anymore. Follow your bliss. Follow your joy. Follow your desire to learn and inspire and grow and develop into the best version of you. Stop sitting there looking at other people who are set up in a way to make you look like you could never do what they've done, even though they're telling you you can. They're set up to do it. And you'll buy their coaching program, and you'll buy their next big thing so that you can be who they are. But do you realize that's in your mind? All of that is in your mind. As you look at them, there's this feeling, there's this thought, and it's trust. And that's why you take your money and you put it on what that person is offering, because they're set up in a way so that you will trust them. Then you give your money to them. Then you have hope that this is going to change your life until that product comes in or until you've purchased it. And then you look at it and you go make yourself a bowl of cereal, or you sit down on the couch with the remote again, or you get back on your phone, and nothing changes. Why? Because no one is working with you on getting rid of the programming. No one is working with us on getting rid of the programming. We're taught that a purchase equals a change. We're taught that a purchase equals recognition. And that's how we gauge our worth. We all know that we're smarter than that. And we don't have to buy into that anymore. So if it is appropriate for you, take some time and think about that particular programming, that a purchase equals, because it does not. For the majority of us, we purchase, and it's like a hit. It's like a hit of happiness, a hit of hope, a hit of accomplishment. But then what do we do after that? We don't do anything after that. So I'm going to stop there. Just let you know that I love you all. And if you would like to book a session with me, you can go to Melany Hope, Quantum Energy Practitioner. That's my Facebook page. Some of my services are listed there. If you feel like this is the kind of thing that you would like to challenge a bit more or understand a bit more, and you would like to book a session with me, and you'd like to work on some of this programming, then please do. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to work with you. Namaste. Gratitude always.